Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Critical and welcome back to episode 19 of Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Last episode we worked on renovating the castle. We got the new wall over in place over this way. Since then I came over to the desert area and I've been working on some designs for some houses. I built a wall back there, built some houses, wasn't really happy with the style that I'd come up with, so I tore all that down. Tried something else here. Basically what I'm going to do, this is very simple, obviously. This isn't super detailed, and there's no interior and stuff, but I'm going to build like 5 or 6 of this little house design throughout this area. And then the rest of the area we're just going to fill with like street lamps and wagons and some sort of shrubbery like some cactus and some reeds and stuff. And basically I just want to fill this area with those random buildings so that when you're over at spawn and you're looking over here, it doesn't just look like a coliseum in an empty desert. I want to have at least some buildings scattered around. And these are pretty quick to build. This one took me maybe 10-15 minutes to put together. And it's not that expensive. It's actually pretty cheap to make. It's not like terrible. I mean, it's got some details. I try to do like 3 different wall styles. So I've got kind of this flat wall style here. I've got like the stair style here, and then I've got kind of this indented one with the these are walls actually here. And then I'll do like different designs on the roof and stuff, and the buildings will all be different shapes. And I think I'll do at least 2 that have like a second story sticking up. But I want to try and keep most of the buildings below this height. So the current height of this is about 5.5 blocks, and the height of this, not including the railing, is 4, and I want to try to keep it like that, where each story is shorter than this. But we have a lot to do today. Similar to last episode, I have a lot of plans of things that we need to get done. So I'm going to go ahead and build those other buildings, get a lot of those detail work that I was talking about in here, and then when we come back, we will start working on the wall that we're going to build back over behind the Coliseum over this way. So let me get all of that in place, and then I'll bring you guys back in once we're ready to start on that. All right, so we have finished the desert city. Well, we still got to do the back wall, but we have finished the actual city portion. As I said, through in these buildings, you saw a little cut through of them there, but I will go over each one real quick. As for like decoration stuff, I've added some little farms, as you can see back here. Just a few little wheat farms scattered throughout the city, nothing too crazy. Cactuses everywhere, and then these little kind of village style banners, nothing too crazy going on there either. Again, it doesn't really need to be anything too detailed, it just needs to make the area look like there's something here. You saw this building already, but let's go over the others real quick. So this one's a little 2-story building. First story is down like this, and then you walk up the stairs, and there's a second building up here with a little bit of stuff in it. I added in a little bit of a overhang on this side with some of the campfires like we did on this first building. That one and this one are the only 2 that use the campfire design. I didn't do it over here as much. And by as much, I mean I literally didn't do it at all. First building over here is really simple. It's just a larger building. So I've got like a little divider wall in here, and you can put some stuff in here. I figure we might decorate these at some point, but they don't really need it because it's not like this is like a lived-in part of the city. This one's probably my favorite one just because I like the weird staircase that I did out the front. So there's actually 2 stories to this one. You can go in here, there's a big open room in here, and then if you go up the stairs over this way, there is a second story up here, which gets you out onto this upper balcony. And this back here is more of a shed than anything. It's just kind of like a small 1-story building. I needed something back here to kind of separate things out. But back over here, we're going to be building the wall next. So we've got the gold road. This has been finished. I don't know if I mentioned that before. This has been finished. It goes all the way off to Austin and Trent's base. They wanted a path going to spawn. And it comes out right at the back of this. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to have a big like wall here. And I'm going to kind of do like a, kind of like this, where there's just like buildings like stacked on top of each other. Something similar to that going all the way down across here. Here there will be some sort of gate that goes up like this. And then I think I'm going to wind... I think I want to wind the path this way. We'll switch away from gold and do something else once we reach this side. But I want to wind it this way and then kind of have it disperse here and join up with this path right here. Just as like something simple. It will kind of just die out as it comes into the city. And then you'll kind of end up with these normal sized pathways and stuff. But yeah, we're really close to being done with this build. I did add a beacon up in the middle here. I want to try and have at least the beacon base, like all the gold set up in like every section of the server. That way we can just kind of carry a beacon around and plop it down wherever we're working. I think that'd be a really cool idea to have just scattered about. That being said, I used all my gold on that beacon base, so before I can work on that gate over there, I'm going to have to run over to the gold farm and AFK for a bit. So I'm going to go do that, and then we'll bounce back and work on the city entrance a little bit. Alright, so I think we have enough gold to work this entrance out. I've done a little bit of an outline over here. I climbed up here to show you guys. This is kind of my outline for the wall. Now, bear with me for a second. This is going to be a little difficult to explain. Basically, and let me see if I can get just a little bit higher by landing on one of these poles. Nope, I'm going to get one more shot. If I miss this time, we're going to just land down there and deal with it. Nailed it. Okay. So, this is the design that I've got for the wall. Basically, every one of these points, like these wood logs with the sandstone pointing in, this is a building, right? You consider that its own building. They're all squished up against each other, which is good. That's going to create kind of the wall going all the way across that we have. And then, the ones that only have one log are only going to be one story. So you can imagine this is a one story, one building on its own right there. The sections with 2 logs are going to be 2 stories, and the sections with 3 logs are going to be 3 stories. So you can kind of work out here how this is going to look. Basically, everything has at least one story, and then there's some areas like there, here, and here that get like a little taller. They're just a little bit. And then there are 3 buildings there, and there that are going to stick up as almost towers at that point, because they're going to be taller than even this building. So you can kind of get like a judgment of how this whole thing is going to look from that. The only one that's going to be slightly different than these, most of them are going to look pretty much just like these buildings do, is this central one here. I have to work out how to do like the archway and how I want to do the whole thing. I think I want to do something kind of like we did over at the harbor. If you've seen that one, it's got kind of like the archway here and then a building here. That's kind of my plan for that one, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump in. There's not much to this. Basically, it's just me. I got to go gather a bunch of sandstone, and then it's just me building up buildings just like these at different heights and stuff going all the way down this line. So I'm going to work on that for a bit, and then when we come back, I will show off what we've done with the wall, and then we're probably going to go work on something at the nether base for the rest of this episode, but we'll see. So I'll catch you guys in a bit. I'm going to get this done, and then we will pop back over here when that's finished. Alright, it is time for the big reveal. The Sand City is done. I don't know what we're going to call this area. We're going to come up with a name for it, but check this out. There it is. Unfortunately, it is kind of still outside of the render distance. Let's fly over to our other wall over here that we built last episode and take a look at this from this angle. Check it out. So we have this whole kind of row of buildings now going across the back way. I've got this path that goes all the way across, kind of fades into the gold, and then turns back into the gold road over here. So I wasn't sure what to do with the gate. I didn't really have like an idea of like an archway, because none of the other stuff here has like arches and stuff, right? Like it's very straight, like even here it's like pillars, and then the only arches are like the actual ropes holding up the flags. So I thought it'd be a lot cooler to have like this sort of canopy banner thing coming down over here, and I think that looks really cool. So I think that's what we're going to stick with for here. And it's ready. Great. That's fine. All the buildings are not furnished, of course. I don't think we're going to do anything with those. They're more for, as I said in the beginning, aesthetics to just make this area look full. And I think we've done that. Like, it looks pretty awesome from pretty much every angle. I wish I could fly up on the house right now, but, on the house? On my head right now. But I don't really have any rockets. But let's take a look at it from the top of the Colosseum before we move on. What we're going to be doing for the rest of this episode is working over in the Nether base. We're going to take a little bit of a break from building these little houses. Next episode we'll be working over there most likely, but we're going to go work on some stuff with the Nether base. But what I need to do is I'm probably going to do a live stream. This will have already passed by the time this episode comes out, but I'm probably going to do a live stream and try to get the rest of the Netherrack cleared out from the base over there. Yeah, look at this. This is awesome. I love this. This is really, really cool. It's like, there's not anything that's the only thing that really grabs your attention, and I kind of like that. Like, none of these buildings necessarily, like, there's no part that really pulls my attention to it, you know, because it's all very bland and plain, like a desert should be. But yeah, I really like this, so I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm going to try to get the rest of that netherrack cleared out. You know what I'm talking about. There's that huge area off over there. I may include like a little overlay right now just so that you can see like a before and after. But there's like a huge area over there that I need to get cleared out before we can start working on the next thing. So I'm going to work on that. That may take a little bit, but hopefully I can get that done, and then we will bounce back once I've gotten some work done on that. Alright, so there's been a slight change of venue, because unfortunately, I think if I were to clear this out this episode, and I definitely could, I don't think we'd be able to get anything else accomplished, and I want to do a bit more today than just the Sandstone City, so I think we're going to switch gears a little bit. Basically, what I want to do is I want to blow this up, and I only have 43 gunpowder, which is not nearly enough to do this. It's only like 8 pieces of TNT. We'd get like this chunk done. So what we're going to do instead today is we're going to build a gunpowder farm. Now, I actually learned today looking into this, it makes total sense, but I've just never thought about it. I didn't realize you could make creeper farms without it also being like a skeleton and zombie farm, because I wasn't thinking about the fact that it is nighttime here. I wasn't thinking about the fact that they're technically different heights, right? So basically, creepers are just slightly shorter than zombies and skeletons. So you can actually make a farm, and if you compact it down enough, it will only spawn creepers. And you can essentially have a gunpowder-only farm. And if you build it far enough away from everything else, you're also going to end up with a situation where it's the only thing spawning. Now, I was considering doing it next to the gold farm here. That's why I just ran over here, because I thought while we were AFKing at the gold farm, we could get the creeper farm going. So I want to see if we can manage that. The only issue is the new spawning, they have to be between 24 and 44 blocks away, right? So if this is our AFK platform up here, let me just climb up here real quick. From this position right here, we'd have to be, the farm would have to be 24 to 44 blocks away. Now, I can build it in such a way. The problem is, though, that not only does the entire spawn platform have to fall within that, but the vertical has to fall into that as well. Because if the creepers are falling out of range, then it's not going to work. But luckily, even if I build this over here, it still functions on its own, right? So even if it doesn't work when I'm standing in here, because it's just not possible, it'll still be totally usable. So there's no reason not to build it next to this farm and at least attempt to get it to run like that. Now, I was going to turn this thing into a giant satellite, but I don't foresee that happening anytime soon, so we're just going to go ahead and build this here anyways. I think we're going to do it off of this side just so it's a little further away from that. I know it's already far enough away, but I just want to make totally sure. And I want to make sure that this is 60 blocks off the ground, or 60 blocks above the ocean, because it needs to be that distance so that nothing else is spawning down in the ocean below, such as drowned or, I guess, any other hostile mobs in the caves. So I'm going to I'm going to do a bunch of counting, basically counting up, counting over, counting out where everything needs to be. Try to get some of the platforms in, or at least the outline, and then I'm going to show you guys how this farm works, because it's actually pretty interesting. So let me get all that counting done, and then I'll bring you guys back in when we actually start building the spawn platforms. Okay, so many maths later, I have gotten this in what I think is going to be the best spot for this. Again, not 100% certain that this is going to work when we're over at the gold farm, but it obviously doesn't matter because it's not like they take up the same mob cap. I think Zombie Pigmen are in a different mob cap, so we're not going to see any sort of effect on these as far as I know. But what I want to do is show you guys basically there are two mechanics here that are working to make this whole farm function properly, and I think it's really cool. So I want to show this off. If you want to build this for yourself, I'm not doing like a full tutorial. If you want to build this for yourself with all the exact numbers and everything, I'm going to link in the description the tutorial that I used. It's by, let me double check this real quick actually. It's by JC Plays. So if you want to check that out, I'll link it down in the description, and you can build this one for yourself with like a proper tutorial. But these are going to be our spawning platforms, and I need to actually make a bunch of buttons real quick for this to work. It's super cheap. You can use whatever blocks you want, obviously. I'm using stone and wood stuff for now, just to make it easier. I'll probably re-skin this later. But the first thing that's happening is we're going to put buttons on all of the holes here. And basically all these platforms, there's going to be 5 of them, are all going to be grid-shaped, just like this, kind of going down like this, all the way across this section. And in every one of these holes, we're going to put a button. And on the outside, around here, to make sure I don't fall, we're going to put buttons all the way around there as well. And I am misplacing lots of these buttons. This is probably going to be the hardest part, placing these on the outside, simply because of positioning. But I'll go back and do that in a second. The last place you're going to place buttons as well is on all of the kind of what I call the center blocks, basically. It's whatever's diagonal to the holes that you have here. So you're going to want to place those all the way along this across the entire farm. What this does is, creepers will spawn here, and they consider buttons for some reason to be full blocks, which means they won't walk this way because their pathfinding will say, hey, there's a block there, you can't go that way. So it won't walk that way. But it will say, hey, there's a floor block here. You can walk over this. So the mobs will try to walk over this, and instead they'll end up just walking straight down into a big water platform we're going to have funneling into them into the middle below. Then, the next thing you're going to do, this is the other cool mechanic that's happening, is you're going to place trapdoors along the entire top of this thing. What this does is it prevents skeletons and creepers and skeletons and zombies and other too tall block mobs from spawning. Because technically, while those are 2 full blocks, creepers are actually not 2 full blocks. They can fit, much like us, in this space here below. I can't bring up hitboxes, I don't think, with Java Edition, but with Bedrock Edition, sorry. If I was in Java Edition, I could explain that a little better. But basically, only creepers will be able to spawn here. And this basically means that this whole platform area is just going to be creepers only, and they'll immediately walk into here and start funneling down into a kill system that we have down below. So it's super simple. It's just a matter of getting it built. If this does work, and I'm going to double check real quick that it doesn't affect pigment rates. I should have done that first, but I'm going to double check that. If this does work, and I find that this is working really well, I may put 2 more on the outsides over here, off this direction, because if you're standing at 1, it'll be out of range of the other 2, so it's not like they'll interfere with one another. But if you're standing there, then you'll be activating all 3. So that's something I'm going to consider. But I'm going to double check that spawning thing, and I'm going to get the rest of this built up, and then we will come back and build the kind of killing chamber down there below once we finish up. Okay, so the creeper farm is done, actually. I was going to bring you guys back in to show you guys the kill chamber, but it's actually, once I got around to building it, I was following the tutorial, it's the exact same as the one for the gold farm. Basically, For the most part, it's changed slightly due to there's no like exit area for the XP. I added this myself. I also added a little AFK chamber in case phantoms pop up. But if we check down here, I AFK'd this overnight, and I didn't realize how efficient it was going to be. But check this out. This is crazy. We've got that. The whole system actually backed up when I logged in this morning, or when I came back to check it this morning, I should say. There was a full system, and there's actually gunpowder sitting on the edge there. So it's crazy. Basically, it just uses the Trident Killer Side Eluding 3 sword, and we got all of this overnight. And I went out and grabbed some sand. So let's check and see actually how much TNT. Oh boy, I've fallen. I'm gonna fly back up because it's gonna be quicker. I say it's gonna be quicker. I cannot land here. Oh my god. All right, I have to keep this in the video because it's just so bad. Okay. Let's take this over here real quick. And I just want to show you guys how much TNT we got. So, obviously, not going to do the exploding this episode. We're going to be doing that at the beginning of the next one. But I just wanted to check and see, oh boy, how much we've got here. So, 2 stacks already. And really, I'm limited by not the gunpowder count, but the sand count at the moment. That's really kind of my make or break situation here. Let's see. 1, 2. Basically, I can already tell we have more than enough to blow up that area. Just from like a third of this chest, half this chest. Basically. Man. Alright, let's finish off that stack there. Okay, so that's pretty good. That's pretty decent. A chest or a shulker box of sand plus what gunpowder we had got us 7, just over 7 stacks. So we'll say 7 because I had a little bit of sand in my inventory as well. That's crazy. And you can see we've also already got like probably up to here backed up in the system here because we got this and then a minecart full there. So probably, yeah, up to here. So that's awesome. We basically have just infinite gunpowder now. And I also don't have to worry about rockets anymore. Like, we have as many rockets as I want to have basically forever. And there's more than enough here to like populate the whole server with them and stuff too. So everybody can use this as a way to get as many rockets as they need. But I'm done rambling. I'm going to start prepping for the beginning of the next episode where we're going to be blowing all of this up. But that is going to do it for this one, guys. I hope that you have all enjoyed. Didn't quite get done what I wanted to get done today, but I think that this was an important step for us to take. So I think we've accomplished some great things this episode. But I hope you guys have all enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.